The billionaire's deaf daughter was ignored, until a waitress spoke to her through sign language. Leonardo Hale was known across the world as a cold, invincible business titan. People whispered his name in boardrooms, newspapers analyzed every breath he took, and employees at his companies worked with the fear of disappointing the Ice King. But the man behind the headlines was much more complicated. Because Leonardo had one weakness, one soft spot in his steel-like life. His daughter, Aria Hale. Aria was 8 years old, delicate, with big curious eyes and hair as soft as dark silk. She had been born deaf, and while her father bought her every medical device money could provide, no machine could replace what she truly needed. Connection, communication, understanding. Her mother had left when she was 2, claiming she couldn't handle the pressure. Since then, Aria floated quietly through life, watching people speak without understanding the sounds that came from their mouths. She loved drawing, reading lips, building tiny worlds only she understood, but she was always alone in them. Leonardo tried, he really did, but between running a multi-billion-dollar empire and fighting the ghosts of his past, he could barely sit still long enough to learn sign language. He only knew a few signs. I love you. Are you okay? Eat. Basic. Broken. Incomplete. And Aria noticed. She always noticed. One rainy Saturday evening, Leonardo decided to treat her to dinner. A rare luxury. His schedule was usually tighter than a locked vault. They arrived at Della Rosa restaurant, the most expensive Italian place in the entire city. Chandeliers glowed like melting gold, tables were covered in velvet red cloth, and classical music played softly, music Aria could never hear but always felt. People straightened up instantly when they stepped inside. The manager practically sprinted toward them. "Mr. Hale, welcome. Your private booth is ready." Aria walked beside her father quietly, staring at the raindrops sliding down the tall windows. No one greeted her, no one even attempted to wave or smile. She had grown used to it. They sat at their table, and Leonardo opened the menu, even though he already knew what he wanted. Aria fiddled with a spoon, tapping it rhythmically, creating her own vibration-based music. A waiter approached stiffly. "What would you like for her, sir?" "For her," as if she wasn't even there. Aria lowered her eyes. Leonardo didn't notice. He was glancing at his phone, a habit he didn't even realize anymore. "Just bring her the kids' pasta." The waiter nodded and rushed away. Aria sighed softly. Her fingers moved idly, forming small signs in the air, talking to herself, because no one else ever did. And then, a shadow fell across the table. A waitress, young, maybe in her early 20s, paused as she passed by. Her dark brown hair was tied in a loose ponytail, and her apron was slightly crooked like she'd been rushing all evening. But her eyes were warm, observant, soft. She had noticed something no one else ever bothered to see. Aria's hands were signing. The waitress froze. Her heart clenched. She knew those movements. Not vaguely. Not from a class she once took. She knew them the way a person knows their own heartbeat. Her younger brother, Ethan, had been deaf. He died when he was 9. But she still remembered every sign he had ever taught her. She still remembered how lonely he felt when people ignored him. She still remembered how he lit up whenever someone signed back. Before she could stop herself, she lowered her tray and knelt beside Aria, bringing herself level with the little girl's gaze. Her hands rose gently. "Hi," she signed. "My name is Maya." Aria's entire body went still. Her eyes widened, sparkling with shock, and something even deeper. "Hope." Slowly, with trembling fingers, she signed back. "Aria." A tiny smile pulled at Maya's lips. "Nice to meet you, Aria." The little girl blinked rapidly, as if she couldn't believe anyone, was talking to her in her own language. Then her face burst into the brightest smile Leonardo had seen in months. Her hands flew quickly. "Do you work here? You know sign language?" "Really? I never meet people like you." "I like drawing." "Do you like drawing?" "I want pizza." "But they never ask me." "They ask Daddy." Maya laughed silently and responded with gentle speed. "Yes, I work here. And yes, I know sign language very well. And, we can talk as much as you want." Aria giggled, her shoulders shaking with joy. "That sound." Leonardo looked up instantly. His daughter was laughing, not politely, not timidly, Genuinely. He stared at Maya, confused, almost bewildered. What's happening? Maya stood quickly and bowed her head. Sorry, sir, I didn't mean to disturb. Arya tugged her father's sleeve eagerly, signing fast. Daddy, she talks like me. She understands me. Leonardo's eyes widened. He looked at Maya again. Really looked. You know sign language? Yes, sir. You spoke to my daughter? Yes. She looked lonely. The words hit him like a punch. Lonely. The head waiter rushed over, panicked. Mr. Hale, she's new. Not trained for VIP service. I apologize. Maya's face paled, lips parting to speak, but Leonardo raised a sharp hand. Stop. The entire restaurant went silent. He looked at Arya, her glowing face, her excited trembling hands, her shining eyes. Then he looked at Maya. She stays. The head waiter froze. But, sir, I said she stays. Maya swallowed. Arya clapped her hands excitedly. For the next 20 minutes, Maya stayed beside Arya, taking her order in sign language. Arya signed her entire life story, her drawings, her fears, her dreams, and Maya translated everything smoothly. Leonardo listened with guilt pressing against his chest. How did he miss so much? How had he allowed his daughter to live unheard, unseen? Finally, Arya signed something softly. Daddy, can you learn too? Leonardo's throat tightened. He looked at Maya. Do you teach sign language? I taught my brother, she whispered. But he passed away. I'm sorry, Leonardo murmured. She nodded gently. Teach me, he said suddenly. Maya blinked. Sir, I want to talk to my daughter. Teach me, I will pay whatever you want. Arya gasped, covering her mouth with her hands, eyes filling with happy tears. Maya smiled softly. I'd be honored, Mr. Hale. And with that simple moment, a lonely little girl gained the first friend who understood her. A grieving waitress found a new purpose. And a billionaire father took his very first step toward truly hearing his daughter. Not with his ears, but with his heart. The billionaire's deaf daughter was ignored, until a waitress spoke to her through sign language. The following Tuesday, the gates of Hale Mansion opened slowly, like the entrance to another world. Maya stood there gripping the straps of her backpack. Her heart thudded with nerves. She had never been inside a place like this. Tall marble pillars, fountains shaped like angels, a driveway long enough to get lost in. She felt small, very small. A guard approached and nodded politely. Miss Maya, Mr. Hale is expecting you. Her cheeks went warm. Mr. Hale is expecting you. She still hadn't adjusted to the idea that a billionaire wanted her, a waitress, to teach him and his daughter sign language. Inside, Leonardo himself appeared, dressed in a simple gray sweater instead of his usual intimidating suit. He offered a genuine smile, a rare expression for the man known as the Ice King. Thank you for coming. His voice was softer than the nervous beating of her heart. Before she could respond, footsteps pattered down the stairs. Maaya. Arya flew toward her like a tiny rocket. She wrapped her arms around Maya's waist, her small hands signing rapidly even before she pulled away. I missed you. I waited all morning. Did you bring stories? Can we draw later? Daddy said yes. Maya burst into warm laughter and signed back. Slow down. Yes, we can do all of that. Arya pulled her hand eagerly. Come, come. They went to the living room, though calling it a room wasn't right. It was a palace inside a palace. Huge windows, a chandelier shaped like falling crystals, and soft carpets your feet sank into. But Arya didn't care about any of that. She only cared about Maya. The lesson began with basic signs. Maya showed them. Hello, happy, more, friend, family. Leonardo focused intensely, brows furrowed, fingers stiff and awkward. He looked like a man trying to reshape stones with his bare hands. Arya giggled and signed. Daddy, you look like a robot. Leonardo squinted. She's making fun of me, isn't she? Yes. Maya laughed softly. The lesson continued. Leonardo kept practicing, refusing to give up. Arya corrected him proudly, tapping his wrist when he made a mistake. He took every correction seriously. After an hour, Arya flopped on the carpet, exhausted but happy, kicking her feet playfully. Maya reached to gather her notebooks, but Leonardo spoke quietly. Maya, can we talk? In the kitchen, Her breath hitched. Yes. They walked to the kitchen. A golden, spacious place that looked like it belonged in a luxury magazine. Leonardo poured tea for both of them, an act that surprised her. "Thank you," she murmured. He sat across from her. "I wanted to say, I appreciate what you're doing. Not just the lessons, everything. You brought my daughter back to life." Maya's fingers tightened around the warm cup. "She wasn't broken, Mr. Hale. She was just unheard." Leonardo exhaled slowly, guilt clouding his eyes. "I know, and that's on me." He looked down. "I failed her. I kept telling myself that providing money, comfort, security, that was enough. But she needed something else. Love," Maya said softly. Leonardo raised his eyes. "Yes," he whispered. Love the first didn't know how to show. The vulnerability in his expression made her heart twist. Maya looked away, afraid her own emotions would spill out. She's an incredible child, kind, smart. She just needed this. Maya lifted her hands, fingers forming soft signs. He watched her, really watched her, like he was seeing her for the first time. "You're good for her," he said. His voice lowered. "You're good for me too." Heat rushed to Maya's cheeks. "Mr. Hale." But before she could respond, Arya walked in sleepily from the living room, rubbing her eyes. She signed, half asleep. "Daddy likes you." Maya nearly choked on air. Leonardo groaned. "Arya." Arya giggled mischievously and ran back out of the kitchen. Maya stood awkwardly. I should probably go for tonight." Leonardo nodded, though something in his expression looked disappointed. "Same time Friday." "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, of course." Friday arrived, and Maya returned. And again, the next week. And the next. Lesson by lesson, day by day, something changed inside the mansion's walls. Arya grew softer, braver, louder in her own silent way. She started drawing more, leaving little doodles around for Maya to find. She asked more questions, signed faster than ever, laughed easily. Leonardo changed too. He started coming home earlier. Stopped checking his phone during lessons. Practiced signing on the jet. Wrote sticky notes with signs he learned, placing them on the refrigerator for Arya. Maya found one stuck crookedly that said, "I proud you." The grammar was wrong. The message wasn't. She cried quietly that night. Between the lessons, dinners, shared smiles, stolen glances, something unspoken grew between Maya and Leonardo. Something gently dangerous. Something like love. But peace never lasts forever. One stormy evening, Maya arrived to find chaos. Guards pacing. Staff whispering. Leonardo rushing down the staircase with Arya in his arms. Arya's face was red, eyes swollen, tears falling silently. "Maya." Leonardo breathed, "Thank God." Maya rushed to them. "What happened?" Leonardo clenched his jaw, fury trembling beneath his skin. Her new teacher yelled at her. Told her she was slow. Difficult. That she should try harder to be normal. Maya's stomach dropped. Arya clung to her desperately, trembling. Her hands shook violently as she signed. "She didn't talk to me like you do. She ignored me. I was scared." Maya hugged her tightly, whispering comfort no sound could carry. Leonardo's voice cracked. Pure rage, pure heartbreak. "I pulled her out immediately. She's not going back." He swallowed hard. "Maya, I can't keep putting her in situations where she's misunderstood." Arya sobbed into Maya's shoulder, tiny fingers gripping her shirt. Leonardo met Maya's eyes. "Move here." Maya froze. "What? Move here? Full-time? Be her teacher, her guide, her support." He stepped closer, voice softer now. "She needs you, more than anyone." Arya tugged Maya's sleeve, signing desperately. "Stay, please stay. You hear me, you see me." Maya's throat closed with emotion. "And I'll take care of everything," Leonardo continued. "Your pay, your home, whatever you need." He hesitated, then added quietly. "And maybe, one day, stay not just for her, but for me too." Maya looked at him, heart pounding uncontrollably. Arya's tear-filled eyes stared up at her with pleading innocence. Maya felt the weight of everything. The loneliness Arya had lived in, the grief she herself had carried for years, the change she had brought to this home. And the love slowly blossoming inside her. She knelt and cupped Arya's cheeks gently. "I'll stay," she whispered. I'm not going anywhere. Arya's face burst into relieved, joyful tears as she hugged Maya with all her strength. Leonardo let out a breath he'd been holding for weeks, his eyes softening with something he didn't often allow himself to feel. Hope. Maya looked up at him. Maybe she had come to save a lonely little girl. Maybe she had come to heal a father. Maybe she had come to heal herself. But now, she was part of their world. A world that finally heard Arya. And one that was slowly learning, because of her, how to love.